All right, so this is going to be another movie review. This one's called The House Across the Lake. U.S. title Heat Wave. Movie poster looks great, but the movie I'm giving 2 out of 5 stars. It has a nice plot twist, but it's really rip off on The Postman Always Rings Twice and Double Indemnity. The House Across the Lake, U.S. title Heat Wave, is a 1945 British film noir crime film directed and written by Ken Hughes and starring Alex Nichol, Hilary Brooke, Sid James, and Susan Stephen. Director Ken Hughes not only directed the film, he was also hired to write the screenplay based on a novel he wrote in 1952. Jimmy Sangster was assistant director. J. Elder Willis was the art director, and Phil Leakey did makeup. It was produced as a second feature by Hammer Films. It was released in the U.S. by Lippert Pictures. This is going to be another Lippert noir. Filming began August 10th, 1953, and it ended on September 4th, 1953. It was trade shown on May 26, 1954 at Studio One. The film was released first in the U.S. in May 1954 by Lippert Pictures, retitled Heat Wave, and then later in the UK on June 21st, 1954 by Associated British Path. Production company Hammer Film Productions, distributed by Associated British Path, UK, and Lippert Pictures in the US. Release dates May 1954 in the US and June 21st, 1954 in the UK. Runtime 70 minutes in the US and 68 minutes in the UK. Country United Kingdom. Language English. U.S. pulp novelist Mark Kendrick meets his rich neighbors across the lake, and he is soon seduced by beautiful blonde Carol, the Black Widow. I will admit she's a decent Black Widow. It's easy to fall for her, especially when you look at her cleavage. The wife of Mr. Beverly Forrest, despite Beverly treating him as a friend. When Beverly is knocked unconscious by a fall on his boat, Carol fails to persuade Mark to throw him overboard, so Carol does it herself, drowning him. After first refusing to go along with her plan to call it an accident, Mark agrees when Carol tells him that they will meet up again later and live off her dead husband's money. However, after the coroner rules the death an accident, Mark does not hear from her for weeks, but the still suspicious CID inspector on the case arranges for Mark to find out that Carol has recently married under another old flame, and she has changed residences. So she married the piano dude. They didn't break up after all. This is the plot twist that I was telling you about. Really, there's no plot in this. Everybody is miserable. Mark angrily confronts her, but she sneers that she only used him, and there is nothing he can do about it without implicating himself. So this movie is one large flashback of Mark recalling the life of greed and murder that he got mixed up into. He's a novel writer, but he's a failure. So he's got to think up other schemes to get money. The film was based on the 1952 novel Highway by Ken Hughes. It was filmed at Bray Studios with several days of location shooting in the Northern Lake District. Nicole and Brooke were the only Americans. Nicole and Brooke were the only U.S. actors in the cast, although Brooke played a British character. Her mastery of a posh accent caused her to be typecast as British in Hollywood films starting in the 1940s. So, like most Lippert Hammer collaborations, they mix Brit actors with U.S. actors. The Film Bulletin wrote yet another vehicle for U.S. stars with British players in support. Alex Nichol plays adequately as Kendrick. Alan Wheatley gives a neat, incisive performance as the inspector, and the film is well constructed and photographed. Unfortunately, the plot revolves around the fatal charm of Carol Forrest, and Hilary Brooke cannot make this seem credible. I agree with that. She is a blonde bombshell, no question, but her motivations and desires are questionable. Picture Goer wrote, maybe nightlife in the Lake District was never like this, but this Americanized version of a luxury level killing makes elegant entertainment. British made film with US stars that captures the ease and escapism of the smoothest thrillers. According to The Independent, the film was praised by critics, and it began Hughes' ascent into more important productions. Filming said it's quite a fun movie, reminiscent of The Postman Always Rings Twice, 1946. One is inclined to wonder if Nichols' character, a rider under the pump and distracted by lust, was Hughes' self-portrait. So we've got art imitating life here. Heatwave, original title, The House Across the Lake, 1984. 1 hour, 8 minutes. Which was listed around, gets an okay 6 out of 10. I'm giving it a 4 out of 10, a little bit lower rating. 938 ratings on IMDb. A U.S. writer living in England gets entangled in a scheme by a beautiful blonde to murder her rich husband. Here's a higher review from Handling Handle. Gives it a 7 out of 10. The title of the review on IMDb is notable for a smoldering Hilary Brooke. Hilary Brooke plays a beautiful woman married to a much older, wealthy man. We've seen the story in film noir before. We've seen it many times. Yeah, no kidding. But this 1954 picture is well written and exceptionally well cast. Its budget is clearly not high, yet the chemistry could blow up a chem lab. Alex Nichol is likable as a hot-tempered writer. I didn't like him at all. I thought he was just a leech. He took advantage of his friend, and then he covered up the murder. He happens to be trying to finish a book right near this wealthy man and his wife. The wife is played by Hilary Brooke. She's like Kathleen Turner a few decades before Turner burst on the scene. She's sly, sexual, and that voice. She has a deep purring voice that has elements of Tulala Bankhead in it. The film resembles The Postman Always Rings Twice. Of course, that had a pedigree of its own. The stars were good, but not entirely convincing together. Brooke is less beautiful than Lana Turner, but she's a more compelling performer. And there's Double Indemnity. It's hard to think of topping that one. Barbara Stanwyck gives a peerless performance in it. So maybe Brooke could be called, at least in this movie, the poor man's Barbara Stanwyck. I'll go along with that. Barbara Stanwyck was kind of flat chested. This blondie is like got some curvature, key blackout, stolen face, and the snorkel. Certain scenes must have been cut, as some prominently listed cast members, John Sharp, Joan Hicks, and Monty Delisle, are barely visible in the finished film. Despite being set in the Lake District in England, Carol drives a left-hand drive car on the right side of the road. In England, cars drive on the left and cars are right-hand drive. I was wondering about that. How could they be in England if the steering wheel's on the wrong side? Beverly Forrest, Carol's in love with Carol. That's a quote. Featured in The House Across the Thames. How long is Heat Wave? Well, it depends on which version you're watching. Release date April 16, 1944 in the US, 1954 in the US, country of origin UK. Official site streaming on Cult Cinema Classics YouTube channel. That's where I got it. It's also streaming on the Sprocket Vault YouTube channel. Language English, also known as The House Across the Lake. I'm guessing that it's public domain. Filming locations: the Showboat, Oldfield Road, Maidenhead, Berkshire, SL6 1TD, England, UK, exterior of Lakeside Yacht Club. Production company Hammer Films. Runtime 1 hour 8 minutes or 68 minutes. Black and white, and the aspect ratio is 1.65 to 1. I didn't like this movie. I thought it was a poor ripoff of other noirs. Certainly Double Indemnity was a great noir. I don't even remember. The Postman always rings twice. It might be an inferior noir for all I know. But I've got 6 minutes before my St. Dominic's virtual Zoom rosary, so I'll go down my list real quick. A Safe Place, 1971, is number 1. Number 2 is How to Save a Life, 2025. And number 3 is The Right, 2011. So those are the next 3 coming down the pike. I got to go and do my St. Dominic's Rosary virtual online. Hopefully I can promote the pre-1955 Tridion that's coming up in Menlo Park. I'm trying to get my son to serve all 5 days. So that's pretty exciting. Looking forward to that. And thanks for checking out my video. Laters.